Oh yeah. Who doesn't love new gear, right? This is a super exciting day for me. I've been waiting for this equipment for about 6 months and it's finally here. Today I'm going to show you the latest addition to my gear family, why I chose it, what I plan to use it for, and most importantly the process that I go through when I look at purchasing new equipment that might be useful to you as well. Let's get into it. What's up everyone, welcome to Drummer's Perspective. My name is Ben Todd and I'm here to help broaden your scope of what's possible as a drummer. Thanks so much for checking out the video today. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe, that really does help me out and it lets you know next time I got a video coming out. So as mentioned, I'm really excited today. This gear has been on order for about 6 months and it's finally made its way to me here in the studio and I'm really looking forward to opening it up and starting to use it. I actually ordered this gear when I was still on tour with Cirque, knowing that I was going to be coming home, and when I decided this, I started to think about all of the stuff that I had at home and some of the equipment that I was potentially missing and going to be needing to use once I got back home and started freelancing gigs and recordings again. So that whole process, I think I started thinking about things probably about 8 months ago, and then took a good 2 months to decide what I needed and going through the process of choosing the equipment, which I'll explain a little bit later. So you might be wondering what's in these boxes. Well, if I can turn it around, you can see it's a brand new Pearl Session Studio Select drum set. In white nicotine marine pearl finish, which I can't wait to open the boxes up and check it out. So we've got the full kit in here, as well as some hardware and extra bits and pieces that I ordered to go with the kit, but also live here in the studio. So the sizes for the drums are 20 by 16 kick drum, 10 by 7 and 12 by 8 rack toms, and a 14 by 14 floor tom. I didn't get the matching snare because I already have a bunch of snares in natural finishes that I like to kind of pair up with all the different kits that I have. So and as mentioned, some hardware to go with it. I think the most exciting part of this order from me anyway maybe is the BC 150S boom stands, which I think are in this box here. So I got 4 of them, and if you don't know them, they're Pearl's ultra lightweight, ultra compact boom stands, flat bass boom stands. One thing I can tell you about being back home, freelancing gigs again and loading drums in and out of venues is I remember very quickly just how heavy a hardware bag can get, and I'm really looking forward to using these cymbal stands on gigs and saving my back hopefully a couple of years of strain from not having to use double brace hardware all the time, which is currently what I'm doing. So I'll get into opening the drums in a second, but I will also say that when I ordered this kit, I ordered it with the bass drum tom mounting block with the drum, and I'll explain why a little bit later on. But I think for now we should just stop talking and open up these boxes. So usually with these kits, when they come brand new, they split them up into 2 different boxes like this. I'm assuming this is the bass drum and this is going to be all the toms stacked into each other. But I think first up we'll get into the bass drum. There are many things I love about Pearl drums, but one of them I'm reminded of right now is just how well the gear comes shipped and packaged. It's so sturdy and strong, and you know that when you order something, you're pretty safe that it's going to come undamaged, and obviously that's been the case here with all of this extra packaging and foam. So let's open it up. Muffling pillow is going to come in handy, of course. For me, at least, it really doesn't matter how old you are. Opening up a new set of drums or any new equipment, it's like I'm a kid again. I never get tired of that feeling. It's always so exciting. You know, the whole time it's been on order, thinking about it, and then when it finally arrives, it's really, really cool feeling, thinking about all the things that I'm going to be using it for, and it's just new gear. It's great. Wow. That's beautiful. So nice. So as I mentioned earlier, this is a 20-inch bass drum. So the process of me deciding to order this gear, as I said, started before I came home from touring with Cirque, and when we did decide to come home, I started to think about the equipment that I had at home and some of the things that were missing. Before I went on tour, I sold a bunch of gear, and one of the kits that I sold was ended up being kind of my only high-end Pearl kit with a 20-inch bass drum. And in hindsight, it probably wasn't the smartest thing to do because it kind of left me just with 22-inch bass drums, which I love for certain things, but there are definitely certain venues and styles where a 20 works better. So I'm really happy to have this back in my setup now. And in terms of the finish, the nicotine white marine pearl, again, I had a high-end pearl kit quite a number of years ago in the white marine pearl finish. And the reason for that, kind of many reasons really. My grandpa used to play drums, and he used to be a big Buddy Rich Gene Krupa fan, and he kind of passed that love onto my dad, and he's got a bunch of white marine pearl kits as well. So whenever I see a white marine pearl kit, I'm always kind of reminded of him and the nostalgia of that, and seeing him play when I was much younger. And yeah, it's a beautiful finish regardless. So yeah, I'm very, very happy to have this back in my setup again. And this bass drum block here was kind of something that I decided to get again when I started to think about coming home and the realities of loading in and out of venues and setting up quickly and what have you. If you're a gigging musician, you know this all too well, I'm sure. But all of the bass drums that I have at the moment are what they call virgin bass drums, which means pretty much they don't have this bass drum tom block on there. So you have to either mount toms on a snare stand or on a cymbal stand. And I also knew, as I said, that I wanted to get some really lightweight hardware cymbal stands, which are, I think, pretty difficult to mount toms on. So yeah, I thought for ease of setup and just sturdiness that I would go with the bass drum block as well. And the argument of not having this is, you know, it's supposed to be less interference with the shell of the drum, so there's more resonance and tone. And it's a questionable argument. So for me, I kind of decided that, you know, for this particular setup, when I had the choice to get this, that it was going to be with the bass drum block. So yeah, that's going to save a little bit of setup time. What I do sometimes too, when I'm just using like one up, one down, is just have a tom out of this hole and put a boom cymbal stand out of this hole, so I can have the ride off of that. And then that saves some stands as well. So yeah, that's kind of the reasoning as to why I chose this. And like I said, having a 20-inch bass drum in the setup is definitely more options for certain venues and certain styles of music. I think whenever you are fortunate enough to be in the position to be able to purchase new equipment, it's really important to not be swayed by any kind of fads or phases or the new thing. It's important to really take a step back and look at why you need the gear and what you need. For me, when I decided to go with the Session Studio Select, you know, I kind of was looking at all options in the Pearl line, everything from the Masterworks down to the Export series, and was open to anything really. But I decided to go with the Session Studio Select because I have played them before in a number of situations, in studios and for backline gear. So I know that they sound great, but they also made a shell pack specifically in the sizes that I wanted as well. So yeah, that's kind of why I went with it. But I will say also that this whole process started, yeah, as I said, when I decided that I wanted to get a 20-inch bass drum back into my setup. And I looked at ordering just one custom 20-inch bass drum to match my Red Sparkle kit, which you can see these toms in the background here. I have a 22 by 14 and a 22 by 18 bass drum, and I thought maybe I'll just order a 20 bass drum to match that, but because that line of Masters series drums is a little older now, and they couldn't guarantee that the finish was going to be exactly the same, and price-wise it would have been essentially a custom drum, so it was going to be quite expensive, almost if not more than buying a whole shell pack. So yeah, that's kind of why I decided to go with this range. It gave me the chance to get something new that matched and was a nice clean, tidy setup. So yeah, let's get into unboxing the rest of this stuff. So again, if you check out the way this stuff is shipped, it's so solid and sturdy. Even though it's all cardboard, it's reinforced, and extra boxes for the toms. I'm going to say that's the 10. That looks like the tom arms for the rack toms. There you go. So that's a 10x7 rack tom. Which is awesome. I don't actually have any 10x7 rack toms, so again, that was a great reason for me to go with this particular shell pack, because it gives me another option of having a slightly shallower rack tom to use for certain things. So yeah, as I mentioned before, if you're fortunate enough to be able to get some new gear at some stage that you want to kind of add to your setup, then it's a good idea to think about some things that are going to give you some different options rather than just doubling up on what you might already have. And for me, as I said, getting this 20 back in my range of gear and a 10x7 as well is really going to be useful for some certain things. So yeah, I won't worry about opening up the other toms just for now, but just for you to see this beautiful 10x7 tom. It says on here birch mahogany shell, and I did grab from the Pearl website a little bit about this specific series of drums, which I'll check out and read to you now. So a bit about the kit. This is from the Pearl website. So the Session Studio Select range is an elite percussion instrument ripe with vintage feel. Session Studio Select strikes a powerful musical balance between warmth and punch. There you go. Taking a tip from the Masterworks Spectrum, Session Studio Select's unparalleled shell combination of Masters grade hardwood 4-ply birch outer and softer imported 2-ply African mahogany inner strikes a unique tonal dichotomy between top-end power and warm controlled resonance. Straight from the website. Sounds pretty good to me. So yeah, I don't actually have, again, like birch shell drums. A lot of these drums that I have are pretty much just all maple drums, which I love, and that's kind of the sound that I'm used to and use for most of the stuff that I do. But having these birch mahogany shells is going to be really cool kind of difference into the setup and the sounds that I'm able to get both live and here in the studio too. So I ordered 4 of these BC 150S boom stands, and I guess they just sent me the whole box where they ship 4 of them at a time, which is great. Keeps it all nice and compact and together. But I'll just take one of these out to show you. So this is super cool already. I can tell like just the difference in weight from one of these stands versus the usual double braced hardware stands that I have. And again, you know, I love them and they're super solid, and I use them for pretty much everything I do at the moment. But there are some situations and some gigs and some setups where you don't need all that extra weight and bulk and all of that. So having these kind of stands is going to save a lot of strain in the hardware case, picking it up and loading it in and out of venues and things like that. But yeah, just this is so light but so strong as well. So yeah, as I said, really looking forward to switching out some of the heavier stuff that I have for these stands. So you can tell, as mentioned though, I mean, you probably could mount a tom on this. You'd have to maybe not go as hard, you know, playing wise as you might in some situations, but I think it's probably possible. But yeah, on the whole, this is going to be a really nice addition to the setup. So in terms of what I'll actually end up using this kit for, I would say it's probably going to be for like the lighter pop, funk, quote unquote jazz stuff that I might do. As I said, I have a couple of other bass drums and setups where they're kind of bigger drums, which I've been using for the majority of the kind of corporate and pop and funk stuff that I've been doing recently. But this, being smaller drums is going to probably suit some of the lighter styles that I play, as well as the tracks that I get in the studio. They're a kind of don't need quite as much like aggressive tone in them, I suppose, and some lighter, subtler textures that I'll be able to get really nice with these drums. So yeah, that's kind of it for today. As mentioned, I have some extra hardware that I'm going to be opening up that'll just live here in the studio, so I don't have to juggle using the same equipment for live stuff as I do for studio stuff. It's just going to live here and be kind of a bit more studio based. But I would really love to hear from you guys and girls out there. What's a new piece of equipment that you've got recently that you're really excited about? But most importantly, why did you choose it? Because as I mentioned earlier, when you are in a position to purchase new gear, sometimes it's easy to be caught up in what's new and popular and what everyone seems to have. But if you don't really need it for your setup, then it's just good to take a second to think like, am I spending my money in the right place? Because this gear is not cheap, and you want to invest in things that you can use for a long period of time, but are most importantly going to be nice additions to your setup and give you some different versatility and some different options, rather than just doubling up on things that you might already have, or things that you can get the same sound out of already. For me, like you can get close to getting a 20-ish sound out of the 22x14 that I have, but there are certainly some things, and more importantly some venues, where this kind of setup, being a 20-inch bass drum, is going to work a lot better. So that's why I chose to go with that. But yeah, if you bought something recently that you're really excited about and is a nice addition to your setup, then please put it in the comments below. I'm really excited to check it out, and the reasonings behind it. It's just useful information for everyone to help them decide if they're looking at purchasing new equipment as well. So I think that's all for today. Thank you again for checking out this video. I hope you found it interesting. If you are in Adelaide and you see me playing this kit, please come up and say hello and check it out. I'll be more than happy to show you it up close in person. But that's it for today. Thanks again. Don't forget to head to the website, drummersperspective.com, sign up to the mailing list, and I'll see you next time on Drummer's Perspective.